Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Rovers Report, where you join us for another episode of A View from the Opposition. We are very kindly joined today by Jack from A View under the Abbey Stand podcast. So I completely messed that one up there for you, mate. But I will be sure to leave all your links in the description below. And any Cambridge fans or Rovers fans, be sure to go and check them out. So yeah, like I said, mate, I really appreciate you coming on here. How you doing, and how are you feeling about the this weekend's game?
Yeah, nice one. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm excited about the game. We have had a pretty decent start to the season, always up really. Everybody had us predicted, as always, pretty much bottom of the table. And I think a lot of our fans this season probably thought we were a bit light on personnel and looking like we might be kind of down there, but we won first two games 2-0, one home, one away. It all looked very good. And then a kind of local-ish derby, I suppose, just by geography on Tuesday night against Stevenage at the Abbey. Didn't quite go to plan, and we ended up the wrong end of a 2-1 scoreline there. But I think there's optimism around the club. I think the squad that we've kept from last year are performing, and the players that we brought in seem to be doing well. We are already presented with a couple of injury worries, which is really worrying in a 46-game season when we're 3 games in. But it's certainly been a better start. If you'd offered any fan 6 points from a possible 9 at the start of the season, I think any Cambridge United fan would have taken it. So it does mean Saturday's game suddenly becomes pretty important, and we need something from that. But all these games are pretty tight, and we need something from all of them, really. So yeah, it's been an okay start for sure.
Yeah, no, I've been very impressed with you guys. Actually, I think as you said, people probably do sort of underestimate you guys. Obviously last season you had that memorable final day. If we could just go back a little bit, just to give Rovers fans a bit of insight. How was your pre-season? I've seen a few of your signings have caught the eye. The likes of Sully Kai, Kachunga. Just as a sort of a wider picture, are you happy with the signings that have been made? And do you think the squad's in a good place for the rest of the season?
Yes and no. We had such a big kind of change at the back of last season. We got rid of Harvey Nibbs, Sam Smith, Joe Ironside, who were all big attacking players for us, contributed most of the goals that we'd score. We got rid of Dimi Mitoff, who was our first choice keeper, and so there was a lot of kind of impetus on bringing players in to cover those players leaving. Even Greg Taylor leaving the club after being there for 10 years was a big miss. So some really interesting signings, like you say, Kai and Kachunga especially, kind of proven Football League forwards were really kind of exciting, and we saw that Kachunga's already got his first goal in that 2-1 loss against Stevenage. So that's really good. Ahad on loan coming in from Ipswich has just looked brilliant. He's really good in the air. And yeah, we've lacked headed goals, even though we did have Joe Ironside. So having 2 headed goals from Ahad in the league already this season is really exciting. He looks, like he's not gonna be bullied by any kind of, big defenders. He's tall himself, and he's pretty, mobile as well, which is good. So yeah, it's nice to have that. On the flip side, though, we brought in Jordan Cousins, who midfielder, who's kind of had great Football League experience, but he's already on the injury list. And there were a lot of eyebrows raised about us keeping Saiku Jana, and we did keep him, and he's hit the ground running this season in a really good way. But went off against Stevenage in the week and is in London for a scan today, and it sounds like he could be out for quite a while. So suddenly it feels like we're a bit light on the ground. Mark Bonner had said that we wouldn't be making any more signings, and that was a week or so ago. And then in today's presser, he kind of went back on that, and he said we're still looking to get another couple of bodies through the door. So I think because of those injuries, give us another couple of weeks and we pick up another injury or 2, then we might be looking very light. But hopefully the club can get a couple more people through the door and just make it a bit more comfortable, because yeah, it's always so precarious in this division. If you lose 3 or 4 players, it can really change your season.
100%, mate. I think especially for clubs like us, the traditionally smaller ones within League One, if the bigger teams tend to have a deeper squad. Whereas it's very similar for Rovers, where we lose Aaron Collins or a couple of our central midfielders, and you're looking at bringing the kids in, or an emergency loan. So yeah, I certainly feel you on that one. I think you spoke about a few of the departures there. Who would you sort of single out to say will probably be, your biggest miss this season? Obviously, you had Jones at the heart defence, and then Sam Smith, Joe Ironside. For you, who would you sort of point to and say you're going to miss the most?
That's a really good question. It's a tough one as well. Like the two names you've mentioned, really, Lloyd Jones was just an absolute rock at the back. Contributed with the odd goal, but I mean his defensive performances were great. But we really did improve with the acquisition of Michael Morrison and Ryan Bennett, and that kind of really did change our season. So because of how influential Sam Smith was in that second half too, scoring the goals and helping keep us up, I would say he's going to be the biggest miss. We've seen a Hadmay can score, and we've got the likes of Kachunga and Jana and Kai who are more like wide players. But I think that kind of natural goal scorer who's going to be in those positions and can run in behind is something we're going to definitely miss. So I think Smith's footballing skill and ability will be missed. His attitude on occasions might not be there.
Hard to find, isn't it, mate? A 15+ goal scorer. So yeah, I feel you on that. All right then. Well, if we've sort of had a little look back now to pre-season transfers, if we look ahead to this weekend's fixtures, you've touched on it early. You've had a very impressive start, actually. I think Oxford at home, who many have tipped to be certainly in and around the playoffs, if not pushing automatics. So I guess just a question for Rovers fans: this Cambridge team, what sort of style does Bonner like to employ? What sort of tactics and just essentially what sort of style are you guys looking to play?
It's interesting because of 9 departures in the summer is a big amount for any team, and it's not like we were a team going down or coming up. It was just a transitionary season. So we've kind of remodeled our team, and I think we're still finding our feet. And I think there was a lot of an idea about bringing Cousins in and making him the linchpin. So now that's not happening. We've always been a team that's attacked from wide positions. We've always kind of looked for wingers and wing backs and that kind of, style of play. And we scored a goal in the opener against Oxford. The second goal, Hadmay, was a goal that is the type of style of play we would love to be playing. We started with the ball at the back. It was slick passing. Jana had the ball on the wing, crossed it into Hadmay, and he headed it in. And it was a simple goal, but it was a real nice thing to behold. So I think Cambridge United aren't used to necessarily controlling games as far as possession is concerned, but they're very good at using the ball when they have it and making the most of it. And I think Mark Bonner will vary things. And if it's not going right after an hour, there might be a change of system. But I would say a lot of our danger comes from wide positions, and then cutting the ball back or cutting it across.
It's quite an efficient style of play. Then you're not going to keep the ball for the sake of it. And what formation have you tended to line up with this season?
We're always questioning whether Cambridge United are going to do like a 5 at the back or wing backs, and we've kind of experimented with it from time to time to varying degrees of success, really. But the way that we really set up is kind of, I guess you call it, a 4-2-3-1, really. So a flattish back four, but with both the right and left back pushing on and assisting the two wingers. We have Digby and George Thomas. It'll be sitting in deep in midfield, kind of joining the defence and the midfield. And then 2 wingers and a number 10, which seems to be Jack Lancaster making that his role, the number 10 role, and then a striker on their own up top, but very well supported by those wingers. So if we're behind in a game, you'll see the 2 wingers kind of drop back, and it'll almost go to like a 4-4-1-1 in that kind of style. So quite versatile, and you may see the 2 holding midfielders. One of them push on and one of them kind of sit and hold the game. So it's quite a nice kind of malleable formation. But it looked a bit vulnerable on Tuesday against Stevenage when we had a lot of the ball and we didn't really know what to do with it.
Yeah, well, I think the sort of penultimate 2 questions I have every time I do this is what are the strengths of your team, which I think you've touched on in terms of the width and the ability to get balls in there. So if you answer that one first, and then after that, just sort of, if you were Joey Barton and his coaching team, looking at this Cambridge side, where are you identifying weaknesses to potentially get at and exploit?
So yeah, firstly, I think Cambridge United never know when they're beaten, and that's not just been a thing this season. That was also a thing last season. I mean, we were quite easily beatable at times, but you know, Tuesday night for long periods we weren't really in the game, and then we found an equaliser out of nowhere and looked like we were going to nick a point, and then proceeded to lose. But I mean, I think Cambridge United are really kind of dogged team. We've come up from the National League. We had a tough time in League Two for a season or two, and then in a COVID effective season, we're able to get out of League Two, which a lot of people didn't tip us for. And I just think there is a kind of attitude where Cambridge United is, never say die and won't be beaten. And I think we are playing. We've added to that attitude. We've added nice football to it, and I think we can build on that this season if we can keep relatively injury free. I think we can become quite dangerous, and I think we will cause Rovers some problems from out wide at the weekend. I think there will be a bit of a bounce back. We don't want to be losing at home, very much at all if we're going to have a better season than last season, and certainly not to a promoted team, regardless of how well they're playing or how good they look. So I think there will be a reaction, and I think there will be, some players that really have a point to prove. So it won't be an easy run out for Rovers, but I do think, we are a little hesitant to close down, when someone has it maybe 30, 25 yards out centre of the pitch. And I think Rovers can probably exploit that, both from the middle, but also if people aren't closing down, you can probably get the ball out wide with a little bit of ease and then get it in. So I think we are a little bit vulnerable. We need to be a bit more kind of on it in defence, and I think we need to be careful about kind of going to sleep. We're an aging back line as far as the centre backs are concerned, and I think a mistake or two in that pairing, when we may see one of them drop out and another one come in, and given that they've given Morrison the captaincy, I guess Ryan Bennett would be the one at risk of dropping out if we were to mix it up. But Liam Bennett at right back is looking like a bit of a revelation, and we're glad that we kept him. So whilst we might be vulnerable defensively, there are a lot of other teams that are more vulnerable, I think, at the moment in League One.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, man. That should be interesting, actually, because I think especially this year we've looked extremely sharp up front. A lot of pace, a lot of flair there. So I think, as you said, if there is a slight error, I would expect one of our players to sort of pounce on that. But that's been fantastic, mate. I really appreciate you coming on here and giving me your answers. I think that'll provide a really good insight for Rovers fans. And just before I let you go, you've got to do this, haven't you? So do you want to give me your prediction?
Yeah, it's so hard to call it after a loss and this early in the season, but I think in my heart of hearts, I think it'll be a 1-1. I think it'll be a good game and 1-1.
Yeah, I probably agree with you there, to be honest. I think both teams, like you said, have had a good start. I think Rovers will probably take a draw coming into this, and obviously can't speak for Cambridge, but I think
we would too.
Yeah, well, there we go, mate. We should just shake hands on that. Take a draw and we'll be happy with that. But yeah, as I said, thank you very much for coming on. Apologies for butchering the name at the start.
No.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you later.